Hello, everyone. I'm RJ Sherman, and at Citizens, I lead innovation from the center of the organization. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Citizens Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Bruce von Saun about how to foster and enable innovation within an organization. Bruce was named CEO of Citizens in 2013 and led the bank through its separation from RBS and successful initial public offering. He's a champion of innovation and the role it plays enabling strong execution and excellent customer experience. Thank you again, Bruce, for taking the time to connect.
My pleasure, RJ.
Absolutely. I'm excited for today's conversation. Let's just dive right in. So how would you describe Citizens' approach to innovation?
Well, I think we've really maintained a focus on the customer. And I'd say our principal driver has been to try to look for unmet customer needs. If you think about some of the places where we've gained a lot of traction, one was in pioneering the education refinance market. So student debt was a big issue in this country, and folks after they had graduated and had good jobs and good credit history could refinance that debt and put money back in their pocket. So we saw that opportunity and really hit it hard, and we're one of the leaders in that marketplace today. Another area is when some of the bigger companies want to distribute products to their customers, they can offer attractive financing terms. We developed a point-of-sale financing strategy for Apple with their iPhone upgrade program. We've now moved that on to other companies. So that's been a real focus, is to try to see what's going on in the marketplace, where are there unmet customer needs, and then what can we do to develop solutions there. I think what we've tried to do over time also is to really broaden out how we're innovating at Citizens to get more people involved, to actually develop a more centrally managed program that brings in people's ideas, is able to track them, and then put funds behind them, as you know. So you've been instrumental in leading that effort, so I feel good about where that is today.
Yeah, you mentioned changes in the market and changing customer demand and needs. Really stepping back with everything going on in the world, how do you see COVID-19 and the overall economic uncertainty changing the innovation objectives for the organization?
Well, I don't think the objectives change all that much. So we've had a very open mind towards meeting customer needs, improving customer experiences, becoming more efficient. I think those latter two, as the world through COVID has become more digitally oriented, those have picked up in importance for sure. So how do we create more self-service options? How do we become more digital end-to-end? And that's where the puck is going. That's what customers want. And so we need to be able to deliver that for them. And then becoming more efficient as well is to try to design better processes that we can take cost out of the equation given the environment that we're operating in. But I'd say probably the overriding thing that you learn from COVID is that you just have to be faster. You have to be able to innovate at a much faster pace and be more responsive to your customers. The whole need for clock speed continues to go up. So again, having these programs that can bring these ideas into the organization and then act on them, not get them bogged down in bureaucracy, but actually try to unleash them, bring them to market so they can benefit customers. That's clearly one of the things that shines very brightly when we look at implications from this period.
So you mentioned customers at the center, being able to iterate quickly through the innovation process. And obviously, I agree. And I think the more work that we can do to continue to build on that, the better. Stepping back, and as you think of all the initiatives that Citizens has rolled out over the past many years, where do you think we've been most successful in doing that?
Well, I'd say we've tried to really think through what we refer to as customer journeys. So what is an activity that the customer engages with the bank, and then how does it feel to them, which is kind of a new way of thinking, because a lot of times the bank thought about, how do we do things effectively and efficiently or leverage different internal software. The net result of that was that the actual experience from the customer standpoint wasn't what it needed to be. And I think some of the new startups and fintech and tech companies trying to get into our space come at it completely differently, more from a customer mindset. So that's one of the big pivots that we've had to have, is to, don't think about it from the bank standpoint. Think about design from the customer standpoint, and then go back and re-architect all those processes. So Two of the ones that I think we've been quite effective at redesigning, one is the new account opening process. And there's a really big payoff from that. So if customer comes in and says, wow, this was great, I'm so happy I'm now banking at Citizens, they're going to stay with you for a long time. They're going to start using your products and services. And so I think we've had some very positive benefit from the efforts that we made to redesign that process. And the second one has been the mortgage origination process. And so we've kind of re-architected that. We put a fintech digital front end in place so we can start the process more efficiently and effectively, and then handle things end to end with very good communication and a very good customer experience. And as we've seen this refi boom with rates going down, had a huge surge in volume, and I'm very happy that we were ahead of the curve and we had redesigned that process so we can actually keep up with the volumes while still delivering a great customer experience.
Yeah, being ahead of the curve and makes me just think of the transformation program and all the investment that we've made over the years to really rethink how we operate and put a focus on innovation. What do you see as transformation having unlocked for us and enabling us to pursue?
Yeah, so overall, these top programs tapping our potential, we've had kind of one every year that I've been here at the bank. The one that we just announced last year, Top 6, involved a significant transformation element. And I would say the two cornerstones of the program, one was called Next Generation Tech, so NGT for short. And really what that was about was effectively lifting our technology ecosystem into the future and positioning us, in the cloud and streamlining our whole applications kind of framework and moving to digital first. And so that's been really, really important in terms of how we're structured and organized, and the speed at which we can innovate has been markedly improved already from being like 1 year into that program. The second key element there was called Modern Operating Model, which is changing how we manage change in the bank. And so we've basically constructed agile teams around different key activities like how do I invest money or how do I borrow money. We put towns around that, and it involves technology people, business people, and different staff functions coming together with much more autonomy to be able to decide what is really important from the customer standpoint, and then how do we want to prioritize our capital spend and our operating expense budgets. And so there again, the name of the game is to be nimble, to be flexible, to be faster in terms of how we're prioritizing these enhancements to the customer experience. So I really view TOP as we become more efficient, we deliver better customer experience, and it creates a virtuous circle that when we save that money, then we can go back and reinvest it in better technology. And so we get in that really strong loop, which is where you want to be.
Yeah, I'm excited about the programs because it is putting the customer completely at the center and organizing all around those journeys. It's from my perspective too. It's bringing innovation into all aspects of the organization. I want to hone in on one area, specifically commercial banking. So often, a lot of questions I hear is, well, innovation in banking is so focused on the retail offering. How do you see that evolving in the future, and where do you see opportunities within commercial banking from an innovation perspective?
Yeah, I do think that's a good point, RJ, that commercial banking gets lost in the shuffle because every individual has a retail bank that they're dealing with, and so that becomes really the topic as to how are the banks changing on the consumer side. I do think some of the things on the consumer side are very relevant to the commercial side. So moving to digital first experiences and having digital interactions and more self-service, that's also important in commercial. But probably the thing that stands out for me the most on the commercial side is we've just had a big leap forward in terms of how payments get processed with real-time payments. So the industry has invested a significant amount of money over time and has rolled out a real-time payments offering. And that is really a game changer in terms of being able to move funds between companies and their vendors and other counterparties. So I think that's a breakthrough. But then, the ability to optimize how the payments gets made through different channels, and then also to collect the data, rich data from the payment process to feed back into then enhance all the middle and back office processes that a company engages in. There can be a lot of innovation around that as well. So that's kind of the new frontier. We now have real-time payments. We now have an ability to optimize channels. We have an ability to take in information and turn it back to the customer in ways that are really conducive to running their business more efficiently and more effectively.
So you mentioned both rapid digital adoption and fintechs, and I know we've done a lot of engagements with fintechs over the years, and I wanted you to step back and elaborate. Where do you see the future going with banks and fintechs, and how do you see it changing maybe as we're driving towards this rapid digital adoption?
Yeah, look, it's been interesting to watch the evolution of how fintechs and banks interact. I think initially the fintechs thought they would just walk in and start to eat the bank's lunch, but it hasn't exactly worked out that way. The banks have a lot of inherent advantages, and so I think it's become a much more collaborative relationship where the fintechs view the banks as customers in some respects or partners in other respects. And so over time, we've viewed fintechs as potentially great means to an end, to ultimately be more innovative and deliver better customer experiences, expand our distribution, run the bank better. So we have of those 20 fintech partnerships kind of span the gamut in terms of what we're able to do for customers, or what we're able to do in terms of sourcing or moving to digital front ends, or having credit analytics that help us manage our credit books more effectively. And so I think you'll continue to see that be the case. There'll be some fintechs who are attacking the banks directly. You have names like Chime, you have SoFi, but even then, for example, SoFi, we're a distribution partner with them. So we buy some of the loans that they originate, so they have liquidity, and we like the asset, and so we keep it on our books. And so you kind of get into this co-opetition, I guess, or frenemy type relationships with some of the which has been fine. I think it actually keeps us sharp. It allows us to, I think, move a lot faster than if we had to try to do all of these different projects on our own. So, but to be able to tap into that and be good at it is really a skill that I think the banks need to develop to compete effectively.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And their role has changed, and they've been great partners along the way. Talking about the operating model and how we bring this to life within Citizens. We have a fairly lean focus at the center of the organization by design, deliberately, but we also work to engage the rest of the enterprise in it. How do you see the rest of the organization really playing a role in enabling and driving innovation?
Well, that's your job, RJ. I should turn that question back. But look, I think the mindset we have at Citizens is thin center, thick divisions. And so in the instance of innovation, having a chief innovation officer like yourself, that provides leadership. We also want to have the catchment mechanisms to bring the ideas into the house. So we put the platforms in place. So we run all of that, and orchestrate it from the center. But at the end of the day, you have to try to get as broad engagement across the organization, so you get the uptick of and surge of ideas to really consider. And the divisions are the ones who are closest to the customer. They're the ones who have to execute the transactions or have to go out and acquire new customers. And so they see where the opportunities lie. Gee, if I only had this, just think what we could do with it. Anyway, that's the kind of magic, is if we can kind of educate people throughout the organization, kind of what do we mean by innovation mindset? How do we want to go about your job every day? How should you be jotting down ideas or noting things that you can bring to the next bright idea session and share? And then we can put that into the hopper We have an innovation fund, which you spearheaded that, but I think we have probably 20 ideas that'll be funded by the end of the year coming out of that process, which is just a way to short circuit going through the normal budget process of each of our divisions. It's okay, we have this little pool of funds, we have some servers and technology set up so we can try to bust these things forward to see if they really have potential without getting caught in the normal bureaucracy that exists through a higher scrutiny of capital expenditure process that exists at the bank. So anyway, I'm pretty excited about how we've advanced the ball and how we're still feeling our way a little bit, but I think we have it right in terms of how we're coordinating from the center and then how we're getting increased involvement out from the divisions.
Yeah, I agree, and definitely don't worry, it's a center of mind for me too. I agree. I think there's a good opportunity and want to really enable innovation across the entire enterprise and just have it, as you were talking about transformation, talking about the modern operating model and the way that we're thinking about this, it is just going to be embedded into everything that we do. I know we've just got a few minutes left. I was hoping maybe just advice and feedback that you have for other organizations that are early in their innovation journeys and how you think about this from your role and the transformation that you've driven across Citizens over these past years.
Yeah, look, I would say you can't go wrong if you keep the customer at the center of everything you do. And so in your innovation efforts, make sure it's targeted at delivering more and better for the customer. So to me, that's the kind of principal foundation block that if you follow that, then your innovation efforts should be pretty good. And then I guess the other thing is, when you need to try to be broad in the organization. So don't just limit it to the chiefs sitting around a table thinking about, I read this or I saw this at a convention and trying to bring the ideas in. A lot of times the ideas really come from all levels of the organization, people who have to interact in a branch every day with a customer coming in, and they're going to have good ideas about, gee, that was clunky and that took an hour and it should have taken 10 minutes, and why, what could we do to improve that process? So cast the wide net, train people up, get them thinking with an innovation mindset, and then you'll start to see the ideas flow in. And then, you also, I think, should make sure that you're encouraging all kinds of ideas. It's not just about filling the unmet customer need. It's delivering that better customer experience, running the bank more efficiently. Good ideas come in all shapes and sizes, and so just encourage people. If you think of something we can do better, we want to know about it, and then we'll try to run with the ball. And then lastly, I'd say you have to try to put some infrastructure in place. So there is some leadership from the center, and then there's a ability, some kind of platform. They're not that expensive, basically, that can just bring these ideas into focus and keep track of them as you go along.
Yeah, so it looks like we're coming up on time. I just want to thank you for taking a few minutes to chat on what we both really agree is an important topic, and really a lot of the world is changing right now. So excited about this. Appreciate your support in this journey, and thank you.
All right, RJ, it's been a pleasure chatting with you.